The America that we had is done. It's over. The idea of America is still alive and never really came to its full potential. But the America we knew is over. Trump has done so much damage to America that it'll be felt for generations to come, even if we were to get him out of office right now. The attacks in Iran have just solidified that we will no longer be the world superpower. I want to be very clear though, I love America. I'm a veteran. I absolutely love America. I don't like our administration. I don't like Trump. I'm not even a fan of the government, but I like the people, because that's what America is. It's the people of America. This war is not going to end well. Regardless of how it ends, it's not going to end well. The best we can hope for is that we get Trump out. And even then, we still have all our work ahead of us. The Constitution's a great start, but it did not prevent somebody like Trump coming in and ruining 200 plus years of a country. I mean, it took him a little over a year to totally screw over America for the next 30 years. So if we go to rebuild, if we can rebuild, what does that look like? How do we rebuild? And I've thrown some ideas out there in the past, but I want to add a few more. We cannot ever allow one person to have this much power ever again. Ever. They weren't supposed to have this much power in the first place, but due to the lack of spine in Republicans in the Congress and the Senate, they've allowed Trump to have this power. So how do we fix that? I've addressed that in a few other videos, but mainly it's going to come down to competency. You have to be competent, you have to be qualified, and we can work out the details on that to hold any office. You have to be proficient in the skills that you're trying to be in charge of. But the big part, the big issue has to be when we go to rebuild, has to be priorities. And what I mean by that is priorities of people over everything else. The priorities of the American people. Like, what do they need? That has to be the scale at which we use to judge any rule, law, program, any of it. It has to be, does it benefit the American people? We're gonna have to be people over profits all the time. Like, that has to be the standard for which we judge. I really genuinely hope we get the chance to rebuild America, rebuild it into maybe what it could have been. I don't know if we're gonna get that chance. The things that are concerning me right now with Iran is I guarantee they're not being truthful about how many people, American citizens, have been injured or killed. If they're covering that up, they're covering up how bad it really is. The other part that concerns me is China. I'm not worried about them attacking us by any means, but they're gonna feed Iran. And I get that, don't get me wrong. And then as America stumbles and falters, China's gonna be there to pick up the pieces. China will be the new world superpower. And I think that's gonna happen regardless how this plays out. And if you don't like that, you can thank Donald Trump, because he caused all of this. And his supporters allowed it to happen. The rest of us have been screaming from the rooftops how horrible Trump is. The only thing that this Trump administration actually has going for it is how incompetent they fucking are. Like, that is the only bright side to them. Because if they were competent, they could have accomplished way more of their evil plan than what they've done. But on the Iran issue, their incompetence is gonna screw us all over. They didn't think it through, they didn't plan it out, they didn't have a battle plan, they just went in with no idea how to actually end it. Regardless how this ends, I just hope there's enough of America left to rebuild something.
I told y'all. I said Iran is kicking ass and taking names. And a bunch of white people came on that post and said, They don't have any air defense. Now they have 200 and something American soldiers hostage over there. Prisoners of war. Your American children are captives of Iranian soldiers now. They don't have this. They don't have, but what they do have is your children now. Probably most of you that were on here commenting on this post, they have your children. We seen this movie before, didn't we? When in Gaza, didn't we in Palestine, when they took the Israeli captive and they start making those videos? Well, expect your children to be on videos now. Sometime this week, all of them in handcuffs looking crazy as hell talking about Trump. In this war, man, we didn't want to be here. We didn't want to be here. Trump, please help us. Trump.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. Now, guys, Donald Trump said in case Iran retaliate, he's not going to protect Americans. Seriously? And Americans, they are the one who are really, they are the taxpayers. They are really the one who are paying taxes in America. And paying taxes to America, you need a security, you need a protection from the administration. But Donald Trump is trying really to say that he cannot really protect the Americans. So it's now the high times as Americans really to stop paying taxes. And before I dive in, I want you guys to continue watching this video until the end. Then I'll come back with the more comment.
America's money for these wars is directly coming from the taxpayers. And I feel like eventually America will start actually losing money because of these wars. And not even necessarily because there's no tax-paying dollars going to the military's infrastructure, but literally because America is doing all of these different operations at the same time. And I feel like other countries are aware of that and are watching that happen. You know what I mean? Like America had operations in Mexico and then in Venezuela and then in Iran. And I feel like they have operations going on in other places as well that I'm just not naming right now. But literally, I feel like all of these places are just watching the United States use all of these billions of dollars to do all of these military operations and basically cause war. And literally, they're watching the U.S. use all of this money. So at some point, regardless of the fact that like people are paying taxes or not paying taxes, it's going to get to a point where the U.S. is losing a lot more money than they are making in order to continue whatever type of war and conflict that is currently going on. You know what I mean? So I feel like once it gets to that point, they're either going to try to like raise the prices of things and make more taxes appear out of nowhere. But that's crazy. I really feel like it's going to just get to a point where all these countries are realizing, hey, so if America's actually doing all of these operations in all of these different places, they have to be spending billions of dollars for all of these different operations in all of these different countries. At some point, they will think that the U.S. is probably weak enough at some point to then actually target the U.S. because they're just literally watching America spend billions and billions of dollars for all of these different military operations globally. All of these different conflicts and wars going on all around. And I feel like these countries are just watching the U.S. spend all of this money. It's like you're eventually not going to have all of the money that you have currently in order to keep starting wars. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just going to get to a point where all of these countries are looking at the U.S. like, I don't think you have as much as you thought you had in the beginning. And it's going to basically turn. And people will be able to see that. I don't know. That's just my guess on what would be happening. Because it's like we're spending all of these billions of dollars for all of these different conflicts in different countries. It's like they can see that the U.S. is spending all of this money. I just feel like at some point that money will start running out. And the world will be able to see that. And then there will be repercussions because of that. That's just what I think will happen. I don't know.
This is for black people and black people only. If you are not black, keep scrolling. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, that's probably because you should have kept scrolling. Okay? Things I will not be around while all of this is going on. Yeah. Won't be around it. I'm sorry. Nowhere where this is at, I will not be. Yeah. I don't care if I got the money for it or what. Things I will be around it, I said I ain't around no more because I ain't ghetto no more. Yeah. Yeah, going back to what I'm used to. Sticking to the rivers and the lakes that I'm used to. Okay? Let me break this down for y'all. Ski resorts. Snow tubing. Yeah. Vacations where it is cold at. Yeah. Stop and shop. Aldi's. This little Aldi's thing. Yeah. Biggest malls in the state. Yeah. Can't do it. Therapists. Yeah. Can't be around them right now. Things of that nature. Air hockey. Big arcades. Bowling alleys where there are bars, dance floors, and the biggest bowling alleys. Yeah, won't be around that. Yeah. Gambling halls. Yeah. Laundromats. Yeah. Shop right. Yeah. That's what you kept. Yeah. Card games. Yeah. Cookouts on the porch that's inside of the house enclosed. Yeah. Places where they might steal cars and I gotta keep checking on my car every hour. Yeah. Used to it. Rather be there. I like my odds there. But places that are steakhouses, Wolfgang Puck, yeah, won't be there. I'm sorry. Baby girl, look at it online. We could cook it at the house. I'm on my mama type of timing. If you ain't understand what just happened or what went wrong, we are at war. And I'm telling you, it might be ghetto. You might have came out of that tax bracket. Safest place to be in America right now. It's not with us. The problem not with us. Yeah. Handle y'all schedule. Y'all been asking for this for a long time now. Y'all get it out y'all system. Let us know when the coast is clear. Yeah. Go where you celebrate it and not just tolerate it. Yeah. This is my message. I'll see y'all on the back end. I'm just a messenger.
God, I hate to be sharing this, but American citizens and citizens of Arab nations abroad that are impacted by Trump's war with Iran, we are at such risk of danger because of terrorism. And this administration does not care to keep us safe. Yesterday, I shared that the administration decided not to release data, information to help local law enforcement identify or even know that there's an imminent threat by sleeper cells in the United States, terrorist sleeper cells. They are not releasing the information to local law enforcement, nor are they providing resources to local law enforcement in terms of what to do about it, how to get ahead of it, and what to do if something like that happens. And now we're finding out that several of these Arab nations are very upset because Washington is not sharing these imminent threats with them either. So they can be on the lookout and be prepared and hopefully thwart a terrorist attack. And you guys are probably wondering, why? Why does the United States not want to help keep its citizens safe? Because they do not want to impact midterm elections. They do not want people to get afraid by announcing all of the threats, putting people on notice, putting local law enforcement on notice. They want to maintain power over everything else. This is no different from the cover-up of the Epstein files. This is no different from the cover-up of the abuses within those ICE facilities. This is all about keeping power and not affecting their image, their reputation, their popularity, because Republicans want to maintain power. And this is where I shock everybody by remembering when Elon Musk had Doge in place, that they cut the funding to the counterterrorism division, cut it substantially. Worse than that, they put a 22-year-old intern, a member of the Heritage Foundation with zero experience in counterterrorism, in charge of Homeland Security's counterterrorism division. And Doge swiftly cut experienced, tenured terrorist experts from 80 employees down to 20 under this 22-year-old's oversight. Counterterrorism experts are saying This man, this 22-year-old, wouldn't even get an entry-level job. And he's the one in charge of everything. And when you talk about providing resources to our local law enforcement, because Washington, D.C. gets information that there might be a terrorist attack, well, there's no resources because this 22-year-old, who's a white Christian nationalist, put all of the funding and resources into peaceful protests, into those fighting against the immigration tactics of this administration, not on terrorist cells, not on potential terrorist attacks. This is fucking crazy.
All right, y'all. President Donald Trump is facing backlash after a comment about the growing conflict with Iran. Now, during a recent interview, President Trump was asked, should Americans be worried about retaliation from Iran on U.S. soil? And his response was very simple. He said, I guess. He later added that war casualties are expected, saying that when you go to war, some people will die. Now, this comment comes days after 6 service members were killed in a retaliatory drone strike overseas after military action was taken by the United States and Israel. Now, the situation in the Middle East continued to escalate with growing concerns about how far this conflict could spread. So what do y'all think? Should Americans be worried about retaliation at home?
As Trump deploys more U.S. teenagers into the Middle East for war with Iran, and as gas prices soar through the roof, this is Trump today playing golf at his resort with his billionaire friends. He doesn't care about you, your wallet, or our troops. He only cares about himself.
U.S. soldiers were told that the war with Iran is God's divine plan to cause Armageddon. And because there would be an Armageddon, there would be a second coming of Christ, like Christ would return. That's what military commanders are telling U.S. soldiers as to why there's even this conflict and war going on with Iran anyway. Like, that's their justification, because there will be an Armageddon and then Christ will return. That is insane to me. And I don't doubt that there's something energetically going on, because it kind of does feel like some sort of blood sacrifice or some sort of ritual where basically innocent people are being unalived and harmed because of something that they're trying to do energetically. Like, it does feel like that. I'm not doubting that, but I just can't get behind the idea of an Armageddon, when realistically the Armageddon would literally be the wars that are happening. And the war only started because the US and Israel decided to strike Iran for actually no reason, knowing that Iran would retaliate if they were attacked for no reason. And then the justification that they tried to say before it was even Armageddon was basically, well, if one country doesn't attack Iran, then someone else will attack Iran, and then they'll just assume it was the US. And so the US might as well get them first. That doesn't make any sense. And then for them to bring that all together and say that, well, we're actually doing it because it's God's divine plan to bring about an Armageddon that would then cause a second coming of Christ. Like, that is actually wildly insane to me. It really just does seem like a blood sacrifice and a ritual for whatever purposes they're trying to fulfill. I don't know what those would be, like, fully. I have some guesses, but I don't know exactly what that would be for. But that is actually wild. And now these people who are the US soldiers have to literally sit there and try to justify this conflict and this war after they were told by their military commanders that it's all because it's basically God's divine plan to bring about Armageddon. I don't even know how they could even justify that in their minds at that point. Like, that's going too deep into the situation. Like, I don't know. I do feel like energetically it is to cause some sort of shift and to do something. But them saying that they're doing all of this to literally cause an Armageddon on purpose, and these US soldiers just have to go out there and, like, fight for this country that is saying things like this, like, that is actually crazy. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's not supposed to go together, like the military and religion. And I also feel like that's sort of like causing like religious psychosis to the US soldiers who are being told that this is actually going to cause an Armageddon and Christ is going to return. Like, this is ridiculous. This is really actually ridiculous. Like, I don't even understand. We must be at the end of the book because these chapters are not making sense anymore. It just feels like they're saying and doing anything. This is all random. That's not making sense.
Congress to get up right now. Get up right now and go and sit in those chairs and take this man out of here. Because why are you talking about you guess when it comes to something happening in America? Why are you saying I guess? Why are you acting as if you aren't the president who took an oath to protect the Constitution and to protect Americans? But you, when asked about if you're concerned about something happening in America, are saying that it might happen and that you guess. Actually, that's completely backwards from what you're supposed to be doing, because the president of the United States, your main job responsibility is to protect the Constitution and protect Americans, not have questionable answers on if you're capable of doing that. But yet, we are watching this happen. We need Congress to get up. This is not the response from a president. And I think that if you are not very concerned about the way he responded to this question, you are not paying attention.
Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you have really watched the full clip from this reaction from the Americans. They have really tired with this administration. They are really tired because it's enough is enough. I can just declare that it's enough is enough, because Americans, they have very patient to the Donald Trump. They voted in. They expected such goodies from the government, and they are the taxpayers because they really pay tax. Americans, black Americans, white folks, and they all pay taxes to America, apart from the immigrants. And remember, the black people, they have been really fighting America. They have been in America maybe 100 years ago, and this time round, Donald Trump is going a war that's not really for the America. That war is not for America. This war, he is entering a war that is not really a matter for America. It's for the Israel and Iran, but he's trying really to mantling with other countries' affairs. And one thing that led people not to vote in Kamala Harris, it was because of that kind of maybe Kamala was going to fight another nations, and that's why majority of the MAGA people, they really came out to say that they cannot really vote it in for the Kamala Harris, and they decided their own interest. They voted for their own interest. That is the Donald Trump. And black America were very right, because they knew these people. And remember, recycling is the problem, because Donald Trump was beaten that time, and this is the second time, and he's now coming out and killing the American dream, because American dream is falling. And recently he published newspaper that in case Iran retaliate, he is not going to protect the Americans. That is when I just saw that story, it touched me, because I remember very well Donald Trump sent a lot of billions to Israel to really helping them to fight for Iran. And also we have seen such kind of behavior from Donald Trump, sending money to other nations so that he can really help to other nations to fight to war. But coming to the American affairs, he is telling us that he's not going to protect us. It's our right. It's in our constitution that Americans deserve the good protection. American deserves the good governance. That's how where I'm, because in America we have the bad governance, because Donald Trump is not listening for them any people from the lower class, and that's why when we just go to the White House, he is still panicking. We saw very recently the Condoleezza Rice. He called Condoleezza Rice for the help to fight for the Iran war, because when you have the critical issue, you need a critical thinking, and that's why now Donald Trump is really desperate. That's why he just wake up in the morning, speak whatever he can write, just speak. And remember, these Americans, they are the one who really make you to be America. And you promise them that you are going to make American great again, but you have failed them terrible. And that's why now all people are crying. MAGA, your people really singing a lot of good melodies, songs during your campaign time. You promise them that you are going to protect them. You are going to protect their business. You are going to protect their farms. But all have died because of you. And this is now the time that you also, the voters, you must also come out and realize that don't vote with the emotions, because this administration, this when you just go to ballot, you must thinking before you vote that I'm just going to cast this vote, and this vote must protect me. But when you just go and just cast that vote without knowing who is voting for him, it will come back to you. And this is the consequences that these what people are now facing. They are facing what they reap, because you cannot go and really plant maize and expect maybe to have a such beans. It's not that. And white America, they really knew these things, that this yellow man cannot really change America. He cannot make American great. He will make America falling. And that's why majority of people globally, they are just thinking about how America is created, how America dream is alive. But up to now, America dream is dead because of this yellow man, because of the Donald Trump bad policies. And the first people who came out and really started crying out was his voters. His voters were the first to crying out, and black people voices just went really silent. So I want you to hear your thoughts in the comment section about this directive from Donald Trump, that he's not really going to protect the Americans if the Iran retaliates. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. So I'm a host, Team Test Reaction. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you really subscribe, like, and also comment and turn on the notification button. I'm your host, Team Tessie. See you in the next video. Bye for now.